How's it guys, this is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'll be taking you guys through my very own team selection for the upcoming Game Week 7. So flags galore in my current team selection. I don't know about you guys, but every player in my starting 11 seems to be injured, and I only have one free transfer to deal with that. So let's hope in tomorrow's press conferences, we do have some clarity on some of these injuries, but I'll be discussing what my most likely transfer plan is going to be and why it's potentially a -4 hit. Don't worry, I'll still be reflecting on my previous game week. I'm going to give you guys a quick recap of how game week 6 went before we jump into all that game week 7 goodness. So if that's something that you guys are interested in, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So I'm genuinely happy that this might be the last time I reflect on game week 6. It was an absolute shocker of a game week. 68 points doesn't look that bad, but a game week rank of 5.1 million, and we almost doubled the rank to the 1 million mark. So I think come game week 5, we were sitting at about the 600k mark. And now unfortunately, come game week 6, we're at the 1 million mark, but still not the worst start to an FPL season that I've had. Let's just hope in the future game weeks, we see a bit more green than red, as I thought this was going to be another banger of a season. Then you guys can see, as mentioned, one free transfer in the bank, but we also have a massive amount of 2.7 million, so quite a big upgrade can potentially be made. Before I go over my kind of starting 11, let's go over your guys' reflection. How many points did you guys get in game week 6, and where you guys sitting in the overall ranks, as I've seen some massive ranks in the comments. So this is a safe space for both those good ranks and the bad ranks, and let me know if you guys need a pep talk in the comments down below. But let's go over the starting 11 and the bench as quickly as possible. I won't be going into as much depth as I did in the transfer plan, as you guys have probably already watched that video. So I'm going to start off on the bench, as this week not much to talk about. We had Turner who faced Man City. I was just happy that my starting goalkeeper ended up playing. In the Sheffield United duo of Baldock and also Archer, you guys know what happened. It was that 8-0 loss to Newcastle. Then finally, Udogie also got a yellow card and conceded in that North London derby, so he ended on 0 points. Talking about that kind of starting goalkeeper, it's going to be Johnston between the sticks. He not only started, but he actually got a clean sheet and a bonus point, which was a little bit confusing as Leno got 3 bonus points, but Johnston made more saves. I guess there could have been kind of accurate passes, that sort of thing, but for a goalkeeper, saves should be what counts, and Johnston got more of them. But still, I'm willing to take those 8 points, as most Pickford owners and other kind of goalkeepers ended up blanking. So not only did I get a start from a goalkeeper I was hoping for, also got a few points. Then let's move on to our back line, where we had some good performances and some terrible ones. The terrible one was going to be Ben Chilwell. He was benched for this fixture, came off the bench, got a yellow card. So this was the second 0-pointer in 2 game weeks. Now we will be talking about him a little bit later on, but all you guys need to know, he's firmly on my transfer out list, as he simply hasn't been performing. Luckily, one of the 2 free transfers we made for game week 6 was going to be Botman in. We could have gone for Trippier, had enough funds in the bank to go from, but I went for the cheaper option. So congrats if you guys actually decided to go for Trippier. But 12 points for kind of a 4.5 defender is very good at the end of the day, so I'm quite happy with that points return. Now I've already spoken about it, but that Newcastle win of 8-0 was on for the record books. Basically everyone in that team ended up getting FPL points, especially the defenders. So if you guys actually did have the double up or the triple up of these defenders, you would have had a massive game week, especially if you guys had the Botman Trippier combination. The last option to go over is going to be a Stupinan who racked up 6 points. Now he actually got an assist. This wasn't the clean sheet, which has been the expectation out of this Brighton side and a Stupinan. So all attacking returns, no defensive returns seems to be the recipe, but he is just creating so many chances at that fullback slot. It's almost unbenchable at the moment. Brighton also looking really strong. Just wish they could rack up a few more clean sheets, but if you guys watched how they lost it in game week 6, you would be a little bit mad. If you guys haven't watched it, just go check it out. It seems like the Brighton goalkeeper passed it straight to the opposition team. They end up chipping him for a goal. So we really were robbed of a double-digit return from a Stupinan. But I'll take those 6 points at the end of the day, as well as Botman's points. But disappointed with kind of Chilwell. Chelsea could have maybe kept a clean sheet if it wasn't for the red card. But that wouldn't have mattered because he would have been on the bench. But at least you have seen an increase in performance from kind of game week 5, game week 4. Defensively, those game weeks were atrocious. This week looks a lot better. Then we're going to move into our midfield department, where things kind of look good, but also bad. I'm going to start off with the bad part of it. Mbeumo with only the 1 point. Thought this was going to be a great game for Brentford against Everton. But the only goal that Brentford scored, Mbeumo wasn't involved. Also racked up a yellow card, so he's going to blank in this fixture. And even though he is quite cheap, this was really a game week where I thought he would perform. To make matters worse, if you guys were on the Matoma train instead of the Mbeumo one, you would have a lot more points in game week 6, as Matoma went off, even though he was benched and came off at half time. So yes, Matoma did a lot more damage in one half of football compared to Mbeumo, who played the whole game, but I guess that is how it is sometimes. Then to make matters worse, you also had Raheem Sterling blanking just kind of every game week now. I'm keeping the faith with him. He ends up not returning, but Chelsea still continue to have some relatively nice fixtures. So let's see if I keep hold of him for the next game week. but my patience is drawing thin on him. Then another blanker was going to be Rashford in that win that United did have. Thought they would have scored more goals against Burnley, but only the one, so Rashford only ended up with the clean sheet point. Luckily his colleague Bruno did end up getting the goal, a very nice taken strike on the volley. So it seems like Bruno and Rashford are kind of rotating, one of them returns, one of them blanks, so look forward to a Rashford haul in Game Week 7. Then also finally we're going to be going over Saka, who got an assist for the own goal, then took the penalty relatively well in that North London derby against Spurs. Such a consistent option at the moment, even though those Arsenal fixtures do get a little bit tougher, he just keeps on returning in these games. So at least 2 of our 5 midfielders ended up returning. Would have loved it to be more, as I've seen some of your guys' midfields. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys own Foden, Matoma, Saka, and also Bruno. But let's head into our forward department where we had the double up of the City options. We had Haaland and then also Alvarez. Now Alvarez was a transfer in for this week for Nicholas Jackson, and Forshy ended up blanking and getting subbed before the 60th minute. Now if you guys watched that game, you'll know what happened. Rodri gets a red card, Alvarez is substituted as a sacrifice, but he had racked up about 0.5 XG before that. So the stats were looking pretty strong for that game, and I can't help but think if he had some more minutes, he could have ended up returning. But I guess we can't really predict a red card for Rodri in that fixture, so don't be too hard on yourself that Alvarez ended up blanking. But at least Haaland ended up scoring only 1 goal though, and no bonus points took him to 12 as the captain. So as you guys can see, we got 68 points. I know that might sound high, but this week it definitely wasn't, and that's why a red arrow to about the 1 million places. But don't worry, it's not the end of the season, we've got a few game weeks left. Fingers crossed we get more green arrows than red. But as mentioned early on, let me know how your game week went. I promise, even to myself, this is the last time I talk about game week 6, so this is your last chance to flex or cry. So turning our attention to all the goodness of double game week 7. Yes, double game week 7, Luton, Burnley, both having a double game week, but I can't promise I'll be bringing any of their assets in. So let's talk about the couple transfer plans that I have potentially made. I was actually looking to potentially bank a transfer, maybe even using one transfer, but injury concerns unfortunately have pushed my hand to a potential -4. So let's go over what those 2 transfers would be. The first one is pretty much confirmed, it's locked in. Now I haven't actually confirmed this move as I'm waiting for some more press conferences, but if there's any price movement amongst these 2 players, my hand will be forced to actually make it. So this transfer is going to be Ben Shaw out, just a concern there in terms of his injury. If you guys don't know, Chelsea played their game last night, and Shaw walked off the pitch before the game ended with an apparent hamstring injury. Now Poch just said that he'll be assessed, and there was no press conference today, so just watch out for that press conference tomorrow. But at the current moment, if the player I want to bring in rises, I'll just do this move tonight. So the player that I'll be looking to bring in is going to be none other than Kieran Trippier. Yes, I know, a little bit knee-jerk after his hattie of assists, but with Newcastle's great fixtures coming up, he's a no-brainer. So yes, I can actually afford this upgrade pretty decently, and that's why for me, this move looks quite comfortable. Now if you guys can't afford a Kieran Trippier, you can go for a Fabian Schär, a Dan Burn, that sort of thing, or Matty Cash from Aston Villa also looks pretty decent. I just personally prefer the Newcastle defenders at the moment. Kieran Trippier is the pick of the bunch, and because I can afford it, it seems like a no-brainer. So as mentioned, I can afford this move, I can absorb a chill price drop if need be, but if Kieran Trippier rises in price, I'll probably do this move tonight. So let me know what you guys think about that move, and I'm going to go over the other potential move that would make this a -4. So if you guys watched my ultimate guide yesterday, you'll know that Bukayo Saka is apparently injured or a doubt for the Bournemouth game, and if he's going to be missing game week 7, I probably will take him out because next it's Man City and Chelsea. Now you guys can 100% just keep him. I mean, Arsenal playing great at the moment. Against Man City, against Chelsea, they could definitely score, but in terms of my own transfer plan, I'll probably be taking him out. Now there are a few replacements that you guys can go for. Obviously I would just love to keep him. Bournemouth away is a great fixture, so if we do get news tomorrow that he's been training this week, I definitely will probably keep him. So on the assumption that he's going to be missing, if Arteta comes out tomorrow and says that Bukayo Saka is injured and will miss a week or 2 weeks, there are a handful of replacements. My personal favorite replacement though at the moment is going to be Heung-min Son from Spurs. You guys can also go for Maddison if you guys can't afford Son, but I want more clarity on this knee injury that apparently Maddison is facing. Now if you guys do own Maddison, don't worry, seems like he'll be fit for this upcoming game week, but obviously if I'm looking to bring him in, I'm going to raise some caution. Now I can afford this Son move by 0.1 million, and therefore if there's price movement around both these moves, I'll be forced to do both tonight, which I really hope I don't have to do, as I want that press conference news tomorrow. Now if you guys are looking for other replacements, you can even go cheaper. I mentioned a Dayvy in yesterday's ultimate guide, but I just favor the Spurs assets. So yes, this move will be for an additional -4, but as I said, I'm just hoping that Saka's actually back for game week 7, as Bournemouth away is a great fixture on the cards. So let me know what you guys think about this move as well. Is there another replacement that you guys would look at besides maybe a Son? And do you guys think this is worth a -4 hit? Also, while you're at it, let me know what moves you guys are making for this upcoming game week 7. Are you bringing in someone like a Morris, captaining him, or maybe even banking a transfer. If there are other moves that you guys suggest I make, you can also comment them down below. Always interested to see what you guys come up with. So let's now move on to the actual Game Week 7 or Double Game Week 7 team selection. Unfortunately though, I don't own any Double Game Week players. So I'm going to show you guys the team without any transfers made, then show you those additional moves, just to give you guys the context of my current team selection. So let's start off on the bench, and this week, the bench kind of picks itself. I'm not going to talk about my goalkeepers yet, I'll be going over the rest of the bench, and it's Archer Baldock against West Ham, and then I'm benching a doggy again against Liverpool. Now the first two are kind of respectable, I don't mind benching these two options. Udogie though, I could actually play him against Liverpool, but I just feel like they're definitely going to score. I think Liverpool basically scored in every single game they've had this season, and I don't think that's going to stop against Spurs on the weekend. So yes, he might offer some attacking threat, but I do prefer my other defenders at the moment, and then he can always come off if I need him. So let's go back to the goalkeepers. As you guys can see, I'm benching Johnston against United. The current goalkeeper of choice is Turner against Brentford, and the only reason for this is that it's a home game, and also I own more United attackers. So I own Rashford and Bruno compared to Oni and Mbumo, so I'm almost hoping that United do score. But out of these two goalkeepers, you guys can play either of them. I just prefer the odds of a clean sheet from Turner, but overall I think both lose their clean sheet. Then going to the defensive department, I've got Ben Shaw at the current moment against Fulham away. Obviously with his injury, if he's confirmed out for Game Week 7, I'd definitely be taking him out for Kieran Trippier. If he is going to be fit though, I do think this fixture is pretty decent. That's what I was kind of waiting for. If Ben Shaw was going to start Game Week 7, Game Week 8, that's Fulham and Burnley away, two great games. But I do think the injury news is going to kind of force my hand. Probably should have done this on Sunday. I'm regretting that decision, as now I'm 0.2 million down the drain. Then next up we got Botman against Burnley at home. Definitely a great game, but please watch out. He also apparently has a potential injury, but I do think Eddie Howe was just spicing a bit on that. But let's just see what he says in the press conference tomorrow, but I'm holding thumbs as this is a great fixture for Newcastle. Then the final defender to go over is going to be Estupiñán. I do hope he plays in this game, but Lamptey also played in the Carabao Cup, so I do believe Estupiñán's had his rest. Now I do think that Brighton will concede in this, but as you guys know, Estupiñán's basically a forward, so yet again I'm hoping for some attacking returns. So overall the defense doesn't look too great. With Kieran Trippier in the team though, it will look a lot better, but I can't see too many clean sheets besides the Newcastle one. Then our midfield department, we're going to have Mbumo against Nottingham Forest against my goalkeeper of choice Turner, just hoping for a return out of either of them, and if there is a penalty miss, I hope Mbumo doesn't take it. But on paper this fixture looks pretty decent for Brentford. They'll look to rebound after a loss against Everton last week, which I can honestly see them doing. So let's just see how Mbumo plays. As long as he outperforms Mitoma, I'm happy though, as the Japanese international is far more owned. Then we have Bukayo Saka, the potential other kind of yellow flag at the current moment. If he trains this week though, I definitely will keep hold of him, as Bournemouth away is a great game. Arsenal also playing a decent brand of football, kind of trying to compete for the title this season again. So if Saka is fit, I do think he'll play. A play that's pretty much confirmed to start is Raheem Sterling against Fulham away. It's a good game on paper. In the Ultimate Guide yesterday you would have seen that Fulham are pretty bad defensively, and Chelsea's XG actually isn't that bad. So yet again I'm asking Sterling to repay the patience I've had in him. A hat-trick will suffice though, Raheem. Just do it for us. Then move on to our last two midfielders, the double up with Rashford and Bruno. The reason I'm kind of benching Johnston, hope United score a few in this game, and that Bruno and Rashford are involved. I've also been patient with these two assets, but the fixtures still look pretty decent, and that's why I'll probably hold them at least for the medium term. Then finally our two strikers, the first one Erling Haaland, our captain for this week, so I don't own kind of a Morris in the forward department. That's the only debate for the Campsy. So once again I'm putting the armband around the Norwegian. Now Wolves away is a great game on paper, you guys would have seen that yesterday. In terms of the stats, the expected clean sheets and XG conceded of Wolves this season hasn't been too great. Combine that with the fact that Man City are kind of just getting so much XG, I just hope that Erling Haaland puts away some big chances this week, as he has been missing a few in the past few games. I've doubled up in that Man City attack. As you guys know, Alvarez, I'm not going to sell him, even though he started the kind of Carabao Cup game, played about 70 minutes. I do think he'll start this game as well. He also has a potential for a haul in this game. Wolves are there for the taking. Man City just have to put the ball in the net a few times. But pretty happy with my friend too. Wouldn't probably do the Alvarez to Morris move, unless you guys are burning a transfer, as that transfer could be quite valuable down the line. But this starting 11 does have the potential to do pretty well in Game Week 7, I do believe. Yes, I don't own any kind of double Game Week players, but the single Game Week players might outperform them. But obviously, we do have one free transfer in the bank, and with all these injuries, I probably will use it, might even take a -4 hit, but I'm going to go over my one confirmed move practically. So that move, as you guys know, is me Ben Shaw out with that hamstring injury, Kieran Trippier straight into the lineup, and looking to score an absolute haul. So that'll then leave me with 1.6 million in the bank. That's going to be 0.1 for Saka to Son if I do go for it. So I am cutting it quite close on the prices. But this starting 11 does look infinitely better at the current moment, just mainly because I'm losing another Chelsea option and they haven't been great at the moment. But don't worry, Raheem, I still have faith in you. Hopefully, as I said, you get a Hattie to repay us for this patience. But let me know your guys' thoughts on the starting 11. Does it look more decent with this transfer in? And as I mentioned, let me know what moves you guys are making for the upcoming double game week 7. But this is basically going to wrap up the video, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. We'll see you guys in the deadline stream 1 hour before the deadline coming up on Saturday morning. But I'm signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers, bye.